Back here on Busted Open, Dave LaGreca, Tommy Dreamer, talking AEW Dynamite from last night. I'm sure that last segment is going to be screened by Dixon and Spitz for an air check. But man, Tommy, the end of Dynamite last night, wow, what a bloody mess. That was insane. Your thoughts?
Totally out of left field, and why I love pro wrestling. Never saw that coming. Watching Dynamite, I said they're going UK dependent in the sense of a lot of their talents are going to be from the UK, which I totally get and understand because they do have a lot of UK representation. Um, did not see that coming. Uh, and then the brutality of it, the fact that Toni Storm, I mean, the fans were shocked. And then the fact that, beat the crap out of both her and Luther. And then, you come back and Toni Storm's a bloody mess and then blasting her in the face with the shoe and then sticking the heel of the high heel into her head was like old school wrestling esque. And she got shock value and she got heat. And she is going into this as the bad guy, and Toni Storm will be the good guy.
No doubt.
And I mean, Toni has been beloved since this whole character turn, and it's been phenomenal. But now, like, you've only like it got real. And when I say got real, it's Toni Storm has been at times, she's a great wrestler, but the stuff she does is comical, especially on the microphone, all that stuff. The black and white part of it has always, it's been different. She's unique. She's a unique performer, but like even the way she was screaming and a woman covered in blood going off the air was just like, wait, what am I seeing?
Yeah.
And it's, I now want to know why, because it was complete and it was shocking. And that's what you want in your wrestling, right? You don't see these things coming. She won everything. So why did she turn? If it's I turn to beat her up so she doesn't make it, so I become the champion is one thing, or like I broke this woman's heart because what at uh the pay-per-view cup 2 weeks ago, they're kissing, they're making out, and now I hate you. I've used you to get myself to the top. You're a bitch, and I love it.
It got real. And I think with Toni Storm, it's been an over the top character, and we've loved it. Fans have loved it. A lot of people complaining about AEW not having characters and personalities and just wrestlers. Just look at Toni Storm, and Toni Storm is your AEW Women's Champion. But what can you do with Toni Storm when it's an over the top character like that? You kind of paint yourself into a corner. Well, until you get what you got last night, Tommy, and it got real. Dude, the visual of here's Toni Storm that's just been this kind of like funny, entertaining, over the top character. You felt for her last night when Mariah May was whipping her with her own championship title, like she was. I was like, holy shit, they're really going there. That was brutal last night to see Tony's, like you said, for them to sign off with a close up of Toni Storm's face, just a bloody mess because what Mariah May did to her. You're 100% right. Toni Storm's kind of rode the fence when it comes to like, is she a baby face or a heel? Well, now she's clearly a baby face, which was the right way to go, Tommy, because the fans absolutely loved her. And now Mariah May is the most hated woman, maybe even the most hated wrestler in AEW right now after what she did to Toni Storm last night. It was beautifully done. It was brutal. It made you have to kind of look away at times. Like I just thought it was one of those endings, Tommy, like you said, I didn't see coming, but it left one hell of a wallop last night to end that show.
I don't want to see Toni Storm come back right away. And when I do see her come back, I don't want her to be in her comedic shtick. I want her to be focused and angry, which is the emotion she should have and not do her pouty face. It's almost like you have to step out of your character to it's real. And if you think about wrestling, right? If you think about great moments in wrestling, Randy Savage dropping the bell on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, we had what? Sympathy. We had sympathy for someone that we cared about. We obviously all care about Toni Storm, but now it's next level. If you think about uh angles that weren't perceived to be top angles, then that got over, like when Jake the Snake got blinded and then they show his eye and it's all gross. These are things that I still remember.
Yeah.
Or when uh the snake got killed, earthquake. You felt for a thing, that an inanimate object in a bag that represented evil, but the connection you had between, hey, he's gonna pull out the snake, ew, it's so gross. But it was these moments that like were connected you as wrestling fans and be like, you son of a bitch, why? Why did you do that? Why did you kill the man's snake? And even the way Jake sold it, all that stuff, or again, going back to Jake when Rick Rude hit on Cheryl. I mean, these are three big ass moments in Jake the Snake's career that I still remember, like, and it was just like they were shocking. Last night was a shocking moment.
Yeah, but this is one of those moments, and I'd love to hear from the Busted Open Nation on the ending of that show last night. 877-344-4893, Tommy, because I'm trying to remember in the history of pro wrestling, Tommy, where there's a over the top character that just is there for the entertainment value, that like really made you wake up and saw the realism, like the moment that we saw last night. Because let's face it, as good as a Toni Storm is as a wrestler, and she is your AEW Women's Champion, but the thing that people loved about Toni Storm, and at least in this new incarnation, was the over the top character, like you said, the black and white. It wasn't really about her wrestling. It wasn't really about who she was as a person. It was about the character. But you're right. After what I saw last night, I don't want to see that character anymore. I want to see the real Toni Storm after what we saw last night. And I'm trying to think, Tommy, is there anything to relate that to where, boy, here's this character that's really fun and really entertaining and brings us joy. And then you have a wake up call like you did last night. Because, Tommy, make no mistake, that was a wake up call last night to end that show.
If I represent her, I have Mariah May wrestling somebody. She goes to stick the shoe, or she does stick the shoe in somebody's head. I'd use that as Kevin Sullivan's golden spike. And here comes Toni Storm back. See you later. And then when she has her statement, that black and white screen, I would do it one or two ways, and I don't know how you do it. Um, I push myself, I push the black and white away with my hand, or I keep my, and they have done this, I keep my screen split screen where I have Luther in black and white, and I step out of it and be like, and now I'm talking to you, Mariah May. What you did to me, blah, 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 blah. She can step back into that character, but it's revealing yourself. To answer your question, I'm trying to think either like who was the last person, right? If you remember campiness of Ultimate Warrior being stuck and bleeding black by Papa Shango, crap. Trying to think of The Undertaker. When we normalized him, yes, we took the urn away or we killed Paul Bearer, but we didn't get that sympathy. I'm thinking of these, like, it's a great question of what character. And then here's the other part. Toni Storm's a champ, right?
Yeah, she's the world champion. It's
So
different.
it's different when you got heat on Hulk Hogan, who was most of Hulk Hogan's feuds all started with heat, a pivotal moment. But what did you do to normalize these people who are, I mean, I guess they were gimmicks, but a different type of gimmick when they Powers of Pain rammed Road Warrior's animal head into the weights go flying into the crowd. and you see these unstoppable forces showing vulnerability. Last night, again, Toni Storm, I love her as a wrestler. I love watching her. I think she's outstanding. But there's always been this comical thing about her just because her gimmick is so different, you know?
So over
And
the top, Tommy. It's so over
yes.
the
And
top.
then last night was, oh, wait, she's human. Oh, wait, maybe I'm not like, I felt bad for her. I no longer like, it's, you perceive her differently.
I almost and listen, I want to hear from the nation on this one because I know probably what I'm going to say is probably an unpopular one. I would almost want her to drop the gimmick, at least for now. Like I'd rather see like you're right, her be off of TV for a while. We know we're going to get this match at Wembley. That's the stipulation from the tournament. So we know we're going to get this next month. I almost would like to see her off of TV, and then next time we see her is the Toni Storm we used to see before this character. I'm not saying that's the right decision, and I'm willing to have the conversation, but I almost feel like for this for this match and for what we're going to see at Wembley, I would almost like to see the old Toni Storm as opposed to this new character in personality. Like I like what you said, Tommy, where it's almost like you're going with the black light and I black and white, and I'm pushing it away because no, this is as real could be. Because that blood that we saw last night wasn't in black and white. That was as red and as bright red as you can see on your TV screen. I would almost like to go back to the old Toni Storm where she's just like, I'm dropping this gimmick and you're going to see the real Toni Storm in Wembley.
I was shocked. And here's the other reason why I was also shocked because I said, why? Why, when you have a character story arc, why does it happen? Or why did she turn and not Tony? Because if there's anybody who realizes how good Mariah is, it would be Tony, and then she's the vulnerable one. I and then Mariah is from the town where Wembley is. They said it. And then when they said that, I was like, so they're going to go with the hometown favorite as the bad girl, which was just interesting to me. But I was also like, I would have had Tony go and present the award to Mariah. I mean, the belt, and she turns on her and she does all that stuff to her. But it shocked me. And I'm again, I like that I got, as I always say, because I
Yeah.
never saw that coming.
The way I saw it last night, I was shocked. I didn't see it coming. And like you said, that's the beauty of pro wrestling, Tommy, is when you don't see it coming. Now that's a listen, Tommy. I mean, I know it sounds crazy because I just talked about Swerve and Brian Danielson. That match, probably if it was anywhere else than All In, because it's the biggest show of the year, that could be that match could definitely main event a pay-per-view without a doubt. You could have that be the main event. I mean, I don't think it should be the main event at All In, especially with Brian Danielson and where he is in his career. But you can make an argument and a case for it. You can make an argument and a case for it just because that's what everybody's talking about coming off of Dynamite from last night.
If it was local hometown girl hero, yes. If she's playing the villain role, no.
I understand what you're saying. I completely understand what you're saying. But storyline wise, and then if we don't see Toni Storm for a little bit and then she comes back, what the crowd reaction is going to be for Toni Storm. And by the way, Tommy, what kind of match should this be? What kind of match should we see at All In between these two?
A fight.
I mean, because it is a championship match, like it is for the world championship. So should it just be a regular championship match, or should this be in a cage? Should there be stipulations? Like, what should this match be?
Cages to stop outside interference. I would have it as listen, your first time facing somebody, even though it went angle esque. If you're going to continue it, if you're going to switch the title, these are all different things. I would just make it a match, and those two women, and I know they will, need to lock up and beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that one. It's a tough one to have